All right. Welcome back, everybody. All right. Welcome back, everyone. We are back to our normal streaming schedule. Whew. Having a weird ass schedule. Really kind of messed up a bunch of stuff, but we're back. That's good. Ooh, make sure I'm up here. I'm not good with my left and right, so every time I have a problem with the backing for my blue screen, it takes me like a solid minute to be able to like readjust it and go, right. Where is my left and where's my right? I don't know. I need to go back to kindergarten. I'm trying to get my I'm gonna put this in the rug. Mm-hmm. There we go. My third screen wasn't turning on. All right, so let's go over. Today we are getting back to it with page 135 to 145. Patron deities and other divine relationships. All right, we'll also just put the Discord chat over here. Are you gonna come down and join us, Tempa? My cat has decided she wishes to join us. Because what's a Twitch stream without cats? Alright. Oh, that's funny. It won't turn on because my screen is... I got it. So, as with every chapter, the author, Stephanie, I forgot her name. That's okay. Starts off with a personal story. And this one was, she was going on a trip, and so she went before she actually went on the trip, when she was packing her suitcase. She was preparing to go on the trip, and she ended up packing some pennies to go with her, like rolls of pennies, because they were going on a trip that was part vacation and part visiting sacred sites. And she gave offerings to all of the deities that she has altars for in her house, as well as other deities. And one of them asked her to put pennies, 9 pennies at every cemetery that she stopped by. And so, Spotify playback pause while transmitting audio. Okay, interesting. Um. Oh, it literally. Okay, that's interesting. My Discord stopped my music, not um not OBS. Actually, is it even playing in the stream right now? Oh, there we go. Now it should be. It's always fun when the programs do things on their own. Because then you're like, wait a minute, I thought I was the human running the show here. Alright, it's not. And I've heard of other people getting requests like this. So the point of the story was just to show her relationship with this deity and the kind of relationships you can have. And like, she talks about the story kind of touches on the last part, which is also that kind of exchange relationship thing as well. So, moving on from. Hold on, I gotta actually put this open on here, otherwise it's gonna keep going on forever being confused as hell. Restream. Restream, by the way, is the free service that we use in order to be able to stream both simultaneously at Twitch and on YouTube at the same time. And it's fantastic. I love it. I should actually price out what it is to get the premium and see if that's something that might benefit us. But, oh my god, it says ritual for Demeter. Does it? That's hilarious. I have to fix that. Okay. So one of the main purposes of religion or spirituality is to help us understand our place in the universe and what our relationship is to divinity. God, the gods are vast beings. And in many ways, it might be more accurate to think of them as forces of nature or the universe. I really like this thought, and this brings me back to a brainworm that I had, which now I'm going to just infect everybody with. Well, I was thinking last night. You know, we know a lot more about space and about space and like science and stuff than we would have known previously. Why can I not see there we go. That's what I want. And you know, we have deities like their personifications of things, like Selene is the personification of the moon, and Nyx is the personification of I believe it's night. And we have things that we know about, like, for example, black holes that we didn't know about back then. Is there a personification of black holes? I'm just throwing that out there so y'all can think about if there are forces in the universe. And what do you think? Do you think that there are and that maybe we just don't know? Or do you think that it would fall under a particular deity? I want to go here. Further conceptualizing the scope of the gods is like trying to hold the ocean in a teacup. I love that. I think that is a perfect... I'm going to put that quote on something because it is brilliant. We're trying to understand things with our... Oh, look, I happen to have a teacup. Oh, it's... You know, it's just a random teacup I happen to have sitting here. For those who are in the Discord server, y'all can't see it. If you like to pop over to Twitch or YouTube, you can see it. I'm holding one of our Athena teacups, mugs. I'm holding one of it. Anyway, so we try to put things in neat little boxes, right? I'm not going to pour it out because I'm not that dumb. But I have a mug here, right? And say, this is all the things that I can understand. This is how I can understand things. It has to fit into this cup. And if it doesn't fit into this cup, I'm just not going to be able to stop. I'm not going to see it. I'm not going to hear it. I'm not going to know it. All that. There's no way. It's just not going to, or, you know, it's kind of like in one ear, out the other. It might go in the cup momentarily, but it's going to pour right back out. So if I have this, and this is my ability to understand, and the gods are this, essentially, a mason jar filled with water. Technically, it's Gatorade, whatever. It technically has water in it. And this is how much I need to understand. This is divinity. There's a good, quarter plus, maybe a third of the jar that I am never going to be able to have. No matter how, if you even poured it, if you kept pouring it, it would still just pour right back out of the mug. Even if it went into the mug for a small period of time. I'm never going to be able to grasp it. I fucking love this. I love this so much. Ugh. So the ocean remains vast, but our conscious understanding of it may only be the waters which we catch in our teacup. So... Oh, good. You didn't knock any of the books down this time? Thank you. Cats, what are you going to do? So moving on to patron deity. Now, patron means a person who gives financially or other kind of support to a person or group. And this is a fantastic time to... Where is it? What in the ever-loving? Why did this move? Now's a great time to say thank you to our Patreon patrons, our Twitch team, and our server Pegasus boosters. Thank you so much for your support. Without our boosters, without our Patreon subscribers, we wouldn't be able to stream in HD. We wouldn't be able to have some of the bots that we do in our server that help us. That we wouldn't be able to afford to pay for the Minecraft server. Hey, the weird person, what's up? Is this thing not touchscreen? There we go. So super thank you to all of you who are supporting us. And if you're not supporting us through Patreon or boosting the server, by the way, we do not need any more boosts to the server. The server is appropriately boosted. Nobody put any more money into it. We have more than we need at this point. Because we only need level 2 to be able to have like a nice big audience for the for our VCs and be able to stream high quality video as well. So we don't need anything more than level 2. But for those who want to help support, who may not necessarily be able to do so financially, just watching, pointing at you, Twitch, YouTube peoples, watching, having our streams open, even if you can't watch them, if you just want to, if you know they're happening, and you just want to open it and leave it in the corner muted, it still helps us. It helps the algorithm understand that people who have interests like similar to yours might also find our content interesting. So the more you interact with our content, the more you are helping other pagans, other Hellenists, other peoples find their peoples. So like, share, all that stuff really helps. Super appreciate it. Mycius Porcius, hello. So perfect. I love that I just like snuckly like slid that in there. So patron deities, right? Patrons. Okay, so in paganism, this term is used in many ways and may have, sorry, I keep hitting this, may have different meanings within a given tradition. Oh, you know what? I just realized we haven't run a single ad, speaking of supporting. Introducing stories on Twitch. I love Twitch. Everyone keeps trying to be their own social media platform, and I'm just like, stop trying to make it happen. It's not going to happen. So in paganism, this term is used in many ways and may have different meanings within a given tradition. In general, a patron deity is a modern term used for gods, goddesses, for a god or goddess that you may have a deep connection to, and usually a formal dedication to. As you know, kind of circling back to what they were saying in the previous chapter when we talked about a dedicant, a devotee, right? This one would be one that you would have a formal dedication to, usually. Now, this could extend to other beings. I love this, and I just want to read this because I don't know anything about this religion, so I thought it'd be just fun to actually like share it. So patron deities may also be adopted when one is initiating into certain traditions. A coven or group may have certain gods belonging to that tradition, and becoming part of the group that may require becoming part of that group may require taking oaths of service to those gods. Similarly, in many Afro-Caribbean religions, once an initiate is ready to become a full member of the religion, a priest will throw cowrie shells. By the way, cowrie shells were the first thing used as like currency. Instead of trading the actual item, you would trade cowrie shells. Anyway, they would throw cowrie shells and perform other divinations to determine what deity crowns that person, ultimately becoming their patron deity. I didn't know that. I just thought it was fun for us to read that. If we get more view, yes. Okay. Full tree. There we go. Full tree. This is a this is a term specific for heathenry. Again, this was pretty cool. I love that the author is bringing in other paths, right? Is bringing in multiple paths into this, not just Hellenism, but like multiple paths, which is fantastic because I very much am interested in learning about other paths myself. And we do also have a Norse section in the server. We have a channel for that. It's in other paths. Oh, my brain. So, this is a term specific to heathenry, or those who worship the Norse pantheon. Full tree, I don't know, or full trua. I don't know either. I'm sorry. Just if there's an opportunity for me to make the word all fucking up, my brain will do it. I cannot. I'm terrible at these. So anyway, it mean both of those mean a trusted friend. Just one's the male, conjugation, and one's the female conjugation. Look, I used the word. I knew the word conjugation. So this trusted friend is generally used to describe a deity one has dedicated as a dedication or feels especially close to. And there is some evidence of this practice in the sagas. Here we go. For a people who were called beloved friend of a deity, and in some cases took part of a god's name as their own to acknowledge their closeness to that deity. That's nice. This was a good one. I actually didn't have this highlighted, but I still want to talk about it. So this is interesting because, I mean, we do have this for other heroes, but when we think someone has favor, there isn't necessarily a level of favor that's associated to just or that they have a special connection. In this next example, it is that they have favor with the deity, but there's no like the spectrum is so large as to what someone's relationship with their patron deity is. It is mentioned in here as well that sometimes it is like that's it. This is your patron. You're not, and that's yours to decide. If you are like I'm a one deity person at a time, and maybe that's how you're meant to go through your path so that you can fully focus on one or another. But other people are like, oh yeah, I have multiple patron deities. And then there's people like me who have none. So, and I'm just like, I love all of you equally. Just in case anyone's about to get mad that someone else I might like more. No, but I don't have one. And the types of relationship that we have with the deities, with the divine, is so individual. Even when it's under like the same title of patron deity, it's still so large as to what that means to different people. And how does that fit into their belief system? Are they someone who worships multiple deities or a single deity, or any variation? I love how customizable. That sounds terrible. I love how unique our practices are. They are just as unique to us as we are individuals. And I love hearing about that there are other religions and how their relationships with their deities compare and contrast to ours. Okay, so this one is interesting. This is where I was initially going with the favor. It's a story, and at the end, even though the mortal was given favor by Frey, the deity in the Norse pantheon, he still dies. So there are those like we have in the tales where the favor that they're given by the gods is so it's epic, right? As opposed to like, for example, with me, I'm like I don't know, what would I get? I do think I actually have gotten things from the gods, and I think that would be like the biggest one would be like a Grecian pillar, or like it helped me to like. I'm trying to think of like a good example, but like yeah, it's not, in some of the stories that we have, it's a huge amount of assistance, right? And then other times it's like smaller ones, right? That, like, for example, finding a Grecian pillar, as opposed to being prevented by a very angry ocean from getting home, for years and years and years and years. I know that's the other end of the spectrum, but the effect on our lives they have, especially as we're talking about like the different as we have been in the past chapters talking about the different relationships that we have with the gods. Um, so, and then we're not going to spend too long on this one because we could go down this rabbit hole forever and ever. God spouse. Most of us are familiar. Most of us are familiar with this type of dedication in the context of Christianity, where nuns become the brides of the Christian God. This is actually someone did it actually explain God spousing to me as this once, and I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense. So much more sense to me after that, and it was a great example. Now again, God spousing has a wide. It's got a lot of depth. It's one of those topics. Frankly, all the topics are this way when you're studying paganism, in my opinion. But it's like you can just rabbit hole on this thing into the community and find so many different examples. And again, that's because our relationship to the gods are as unique as we are. So, but there is a section of the server also for divine family, and God spouse is in the not safe for work section. So if you wanted to go ask questions or talk about this section, it's a very small section about it, you can do so in those channels. And don't forget, we actually also have a thread in the server for this book in the Books and Club channel. So in general, this is the hardest relationship to describe because most pagans who consider themselves a God spouse see it as a deeply personal and very private relationship. Yes. This is also, again, it's a kind of fosters that more of that individualism as well, because it is a private relationship. Not individualism, but having your relationship as a God spouse so specific to you as well. So some see it as a connection with a deity that is all consuming, as I mentioned before. And others view it as an view its intensity as one where the spouse becomes a window for the deity to experience the physical world. This one is something I had never heard of before, so this is interesting, and I'll actually be copying this one out into the section of the server and see what other people think about it. So I just wanted to bring those two up because that was something that I knew that we've talked about in the past about having a relationship of any kind, being a dedicate devotee, priest, God spouse, be a all-encompassing one, but I hadn't heard about the second one. So we have contracts and bargains. So we usually don't think of these as type of dedication, but in many cases they are. So this is also interesting because when I first read this sentence, I was like, no, I do offerings and ask for help all the time. That is not what this is. This is a little bit more businessy than that. I have to say, I fucking love this section because if any of y'all know me, at all, I'm a very businessy person. My background is actually in business marketing, even though I'm a caretaker right now. And so when I was reading this, I was like, yes, I love this so much. So these kinds of relationships have very specific end dates and terms. Usually, I don't think I've ever heard of this before, and I fucking love it. Usually it is when someone offers their service to a deity for, say, a year and a day, or a certain or until a certain task is accomplished. Sometimes the terms of such contracts are renewable. I love that. Or one can choose to make them permanent. In general, the wording of such contracts and bargains are of the utmost importance. In some cases, there may not even be an element of worship to contracts of this nature. They are all business and less personal relationship. It can be seen as negotiating with an outside contractor on a project. I'm sorry. I was dying reading this yesterday. Um, I love that so much. That is a great analogy. It's fantastic. And I'd never heard of this type of relationship like that was outside of the normal. I'm giving offerings and asking for help. Like it would be nice, but this is much more firm and structured, and again, businessy. That I was dying over it. And if anyone has actually had that sort of relationship or contract and bargain with a deity, I would love to know. I would love to hear your stories. You can go ahead and post in either the chats if you'd like. Yeah, please let me to make it to Vegas or whatever. I mean, yes, that's a good one though. That is a good one because I do say a prayer when I travel via plane. Um, okay, wait. I've done this. Hold on. Maybe. Um, for the past several stop it. For the past several years, I have gone to. I don't think it really falls under this, but it could. Under like a contract. I have gone up to Alaska for a work convention thing. It's I sell kids educational materials, um, and there's a convention that's like it's like a week long, but it's because it goes in between four cities. Anyway, it is by far the most profitable convention I've ever been to. In fact, it's been the only convention that I've done for the past 3 years. Um, and the first year I went, my friend told me how profitable it was for them. So I had a decent idea of what to expect. But I was still, and they just love new vendors. Like, they just eat them up because it's Alaska. Not a lot of people go to, it's hard to get there. Um, or it's a big ordeal to get a booth up there. So when I got there the first year, I went and we found this beautiful spot on in between where the city where the airport was and the first city location, and it was gorgeous. I'll have to put pictures of it in the server, but we stopped and I had my little altar with me, and I went and I brought it to we could see the ocean, like you could walk up to the ocean. It was like this beautiful mountains background, and I was like, this is perfect. And I did a prayer. I definitely did a prayer to Hermes. I'm pretty sure I did a prayer to Aphrodite and Poseidon as well. But I'm for sure we're just talking about Hermes. So I was like, yo, I really need to do well here this year. Like I really need a good show. I spent a lot of money getting up here. This is gonna be really bad if I come back with not much. And I was like, and it was, I don't give body offerings very much, but for big things, I will cut pieces of my hair off. Now, did I have a knife? No. Did I have a piece of hair No, I didn't. Could I have probably just ran my hands through my hair because I'm a long haired person, like gotten some hairs? Yes. Is that what I did? No. I nodded off like a freaking mouse, like. And I heard my friend. He's like, "Why are you chewing your hair?" And I was like, "I'm cutting a piece off." And he was like, "Okay." And so I offered my hair. And that year, and every year I've done this, and every year I've done well. Now, do we have a saying in HH of mundane over magic? Yes, we do. Since my friend did well, and most of the vendors that I know that do the show up there do fairly well every year, is it fair to suspect that like that's why I also did well? Yes. Could I have also flopped flat on my face? Yeah. Yes, I could have. It's very possible. So, yeah, but you know what? I'm not gonna not do the offering. It's like I come to their. It's kind of to me. I'm like going to a relative's house like once a year. That they're far away, or everyone makes a trip to the family reunion. I've never had a family reunion. I don't want one. But do a lot of families do that? I've known several. Um, and I'm like, huh. So, but it's like you meet up at this place, right? And you're like, ah, cool, went to this cool place. Um, Nice to see you again. No, you bring something. You bring something, right? Um, and I'm never not gonna bring my offering to the table to the gods when I go up there. But yeah, it also could be mundane. So if you want to call that a contract and a bargain, you're welcome to. Technically, it was because technically it had an end date. Hermes got me there safe. He helped me make some money and got me home safe. The trip is over. It came to an end, right? But I also do honor Hermes. Look at all that money that man has. There. Um. So yeah, technically it could be a contract. All right. So we have suggested exercises. So I'm gonna put an add-on for 60 seconds. I'm gonna give you all time to read this, and I'm actually gonna go ahead and copy this in here too, just so everyone the uh, on the Twitch and YouTube can also see it while we do our 60-second ad. And then we'll talk about these. And anyone, if you want to come into the Discord server VC, we're streaming. If you'd like to come up and tell your stories and such, you are welcome to do so. And I'm also going to put this here. So we're going to talk about these exercises in a second. Actually, where is the music for the stream? It stopped it again, the little shit. Totes, I was just still drinking and didn't realize that ad ended. Can you raise your hand once you come into the Oh, that's you. It just says D dot dot dot. Okay, I got it. Where's the invite to speak? There we go. You have been invited to speak.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, perfect. Let me actually turn the music way down. Yes, go ahead.
Okay, so basically I have like I recently started getting into Hellenism, and I had like my main crew was Dionysus, Athena, and Apollo, and I was having some trouble getting into it, and so they were like, "Hey, bring in Hermes so that we know you're committed, right?" And so it kind of just started off as just like a me and Hermes was like, "Okay, you're gonna be here for a bit, and you're gonna leave because you're gonna." His job was like to help me get through the basics of Hellenism
Nice.
and to bring more deities to me, which he's done. He's done a great job of that. I'll just say that. Um, but recently he's changed his mind about wanting to leave after staying for a bit. So we
No, that's not
renegotiated
like him at
stuff
all.
as I know. I was like, he was so sure. He was like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna leave after a bit," and then he was like, "Oh yeah, I changed my mind." I was like, "What?" Because that's so uncharacteristic for him. Even from me that I don't really know him now, I was not expecting that.
He's got that whole trickster side though.
Yeah, so I mean, he said that he wants to stay with the gang and just like help me
Stay with the
through
game. I
like the
love
whole
it.
journey. Yeah, he's vibing. He's vibing. So I'm happy about it because I was actually getting kind of sad knowing after I got to know him more that he was gonna leave.
Aww.
So yeah, I guess that kind of applies to the question because like it started off kind of like a business transaction, which
Yeah.
I mean I kind of expected this to his Hermes.
That
But
too.
having him change his mind like that, and we have to like I had to do a whole reading on like, oh, what is this work gonna look like with you now? Because you're gonna be here for like 2 weeks, and that's it.
That's that. It's never 2 weeks. It's never. When someone says, "Can I crash on your couch for?" It's never 2 weeks. It's 2 month minimum. But that's no, that's perfect. That's a great. It's really good because mine's boring. My my answer to these questions is so boring. Um,
Oh, like, I'd love to hear it.
what? So examine the relationships you have with deities and spirit. What categories do they fall in? I just use worship. I don't even really use work with.
Mm.
Or practice. I'm just like I am tiny mortal. I am worm. I love you. And let me bask in your rays. Um Ultimately, not to say that I haven't asked for things as I mentioned. There's been a few other stories. I mentioned that to be fair, I didn't ask for the pillar. It was given to me.
Ah.
I didn't need. I went in the second one. I went to go buy, and it was given to me. And I'm like, I'm just, yay! I mean, mundane over magic, but also, huh? And some interesting timings of things as well. But none of those were requested. But like, I have, um, again, this could fall under mundane over magic. However, really kind of touching quick story. Soon to be ex has major chronic depression, um, and was getting into a really bad spot. Best views on sorry, excuse me. Um, I don't know why show mod icons isn't just immediately there. There we go.
Mhm.
Um, there's a bot on Twitch.
Oh
Um,
boy.
yeah. So, and it was getting really bad. You know, I say no one walked away from 2020 unscathed. Um,
Hmm.
and so he got really really bad, a kind of dangerous level of bad.
Oh.
Yeah, no, it was like that for a while. Which is
Oh.
super damaging on your mental health, by the way. Anyone who's around someone who needs that level of assistance and care and supervision, um, yeah, go get help for yourself too. But I at one point I don't even remember what happened. Like I mean I remember it, but I don't. Like I broke one day. I was alone, and I ended up like finding myself at my altar or at the altar with like again piece of my hair and a little thing on fire. Like whole ass shit happened that I was like, the fuck? And I slowly remembered it, like as if I like replaying it backwards in my head, almost. And I'm like, oh, I had gotten up and I had been in a fit of tears because I was like so upset and concerned and just didn't know what to do. Like nothing was helping. It was just getting worse, and I'm like, I don't know what to do anymore. And so I had in my fit done an offering and like a whole ass fucking offering, um, and had asked Hera to like help and like the gods to like help him. I remember being like, I just want him to be okay. And later on, shit went sideways. He's fine, living.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but shit went sideways. I realized it after I said that. In at that point, I had already known I was going to divorce him, but afterwards, later on, I told him, and then we had a fuck around and find out situation. He fucked around and he found out. Um, and it's now a very messy divorce. It's a divorce case. But in all of that, I realized, like after that, like it wasn't just it was like this aggressive end to the divorce, the aggressive end to the marriage, and I realized that like it was that was the price. Like the like I had already thought about divorcing him when that originally happened, and I was like no, because like I just couldn't handle it. But then it was like a hard no. So I just remember going, the that was a really high price. That was a really high price. I did not say what I didn't say what was gonna, because I was like, oh shit, I got what I asked for, but like I didn't realize how high the price was, right? Because we didn't talk about terms, we didn't talk about like that was a big ask. It was a big ask. Um
Mm-hmm.
and so it wasn't a contractual agreement like for like or similar to that, like how the going up to Alaska had been, but there was a price paid. And I would say my relationship with Hera, for example, like some of the gods is more, and I guess it's kind of like I've gotten to know them better than the other gods. The few deities that play a more everyday role in my life. One of which is Dionysus. Love Dio. So,
Same for me. Same for me.
and Hermes, of course. I have my own business, of course. He's like, yeah,
Oh, I was gonna ask that when you mentioned that. I was like Hermes, right?
yeah. Um, and so, but those deities that I work with more like on an everyday basis, like, um, but I don't, I wouldn't say I worship anyone more, maybe more often because it just happens, but
Mm-hmm.
I would say I worship all the deities equally. So like the relationship hasn't really changed. Some of them just kept coming to my house more, so I got to know more about them.
Oh, okay.
Right? Um so yeah, it's really interesting how like mine are pretty boring. I've got like a couple of good stories like that, but like my relationships haven't changed. I don't have a patron. I don't like, yeah, none of that.
I I
Um
try to like worship my gods like equally, but I think I find myself like it's not intentional because recently,
yeah.
because Dionysus was the first to reach out to me when I first started my journey because he's been with me for like a long time apparently. Um, and so I've been talking to him a lot in the beginning, and then when I found out Apollo was also like kind of like the same length with me too. I know the gods like can't really get jealous, but I asked him like, I know you're not like literally jealous, but are you jealous that I'm spending
Yeah.
more time with Dionysus? And he was like, yeah.
Aww.
It's
That's
like I
so
know that there's no
cute.
bad
So
blood, but
sweet.
like there's like I know that I have a hard time like balancing everything, and that's what I'm trying to learn right now.
Yeah, yeah. That's, I mean, life be like life. Um
Yeah.
but yeah, actually in the chapter I didn't say it because I only talked about the parts that I had highlighted, but it actually says that like the author believes like that the gods come looking for us, not necessarily like they come find us, not necessarily the other way around. So like you're saying, like Dionysus may have been in your life for like a while and you just didn't
Mm-hmm.
know it, or
No.
they were just waiting to their point in line for you to go, oh, I can see you now.
No, because when I realized that like people were like, oh, there might be signs, not guaranteed, but there might be. And then I kept thinking about it. I was like, oh my god, there's so many signs. Like, 'cause, like throughout my whole life that it was him.
Yep. Yep.
Apollo apparently was around at the same length of time as Dionysus, but I didn't. I guess except for my hobbies, which is more of like a me thing, I don't really
Mm.
see a lot of signs from him, which is just like kind of duality. So I get it.
Um. Also, on that hindsight's 2020, because there's a point that I was like, how the fuck did I end up here? How did I end up being this version of myself? I wasn't like this as a kid, and then I sat and I thought about it, and I went, oh no, yeah, all that tracks. Yep, yep, I can see this. Yeah, that sounds about right. Like I'm like, oh, how did I end up being like a Hellenist? And then I think back. I mean, maybe I'm just a child of the '90s. I don't know, but I'm like, I got a lot of exposure to like a lot of pagan shit because there was a lot of shows about stuff like that when I was
Percy
younger.
Jackson.
Uh, ow, no, that was after me. Um,
Oh,
oh
oh.
God, ow. No, I'm
I
talking
like
about
Hercules.
Hercules and
Hercules,
Xena,
yeah. Hercules.
Charmed, a lot of shows, although like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Angel were vampire shows, they did talk and have a lot of dealings in regards to different kinds of divinity and supernatural creatures,
Uh-huh.
um, which are from different uh, like cultures, and they talk about that. And so like I got exposed to like a lot of that, and like yeah, mundane over magic, and but also yeah, this makes sense. Yeah, I see how I ended up here.
I still I think I have I mean I just started out so I'll probably be asking that question like a couple years from now but I literally found it because like I'm not on like Witch Talk or anything but I
Mm-hmm.
was scrolling through TikTok one day and I got this video that was kind of like a like oh I'm talking to myself but then I realized I'm just a modern witch who's like talking to Apollo. I'm like oh what is this? This is like weird that this is on my page so I started looking into it and now I'm here so I don't know.
Nice, right? You just kind of go like because sometimes I also go like how I mean I know I ended up like okay yeah the the shows and all but how did I end up here at HH and I went yeah. Yeah, everything like I was a business whore. I am still a business whore. I was a business whore as a child and I just became more business whory as an adult. Like there's actual videos of me on a play phone as a little kindler, like younger than 10, taking orders from someone on the phone and like negotiating on the phone. I'm just like this makes sense. Yeah, everything about my life makes sense now, looking back. But and there's so much, in my practice that I did the same thing. Like I'm like, wait a minute, how did I end up doing like accidentally falling into like the witchy side and being like, oh yeah, no, this makes sense. Like because I realized I was doing some witchy stuff without even realizing that they were witchy, and I'm like, yeah, that tracks. So yeah, it's amazing. I do think it's really important to have to take a minute and like occasionally, like you said, maybe like in a couple of years or whatever time, look back and go like, all right, well, how has things changed in my practice? Um, what's my thoughts on that? How
Hmm.
which deities am I working with now as opposed to before, and like you know why why and
Yeah.
just like go from there. Just act like a 2 like a not 2 like a 5-year-old. Why why
It's
uh
good to look back on your past and just like to know like oh look how much I've grown since then, you know.
yeah, and how things have changed as well, um which is really a great plug into talking about like yeah, even though like we change, and I'm thinking change. I'm thinking water. I'm thinking the ocean we were talking about before, like in the beginning of this chapter. I'm thinking there's a Poseidon and Hades ritual coming up. That's what I'm thinking. On October 19th at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, we will be having the Hades and I almost said Persephone. Hades and Poseidon. ritual. We are going with elegant Hades, elegant Poseidon, and yeah. So feel free to join us. We're going to be doing it here on Twitch as well as we streamed on YouTube, and we'll be having the recaps or the highlights reels on YouTube after 2 weeks. It is, however, going to be available forever for our Patreon peoples, for our supporters. So, yeah, join us or don't and wait for the recap. The presentation will be made available. It will be forever available. There's a public viewing link, and that will also be posted in the server. We will be doing the ritual in VC in one of the stages here, so you're welcome to come and join. We'll usually have a spot or two for last minute readers if anyone wants to, but yeah, and I'm hosting.
Nice.
I'm always hosting the channel, but like I'm hosting the actual ritual this time. So the last thing we have here is a ritual of dedication. I'm just pointing out that this exists, because that is literally the end of our section. So let me see here. Doing 145 to 145 to 158. That's 15 whatever ish pages. That is going to be what's for next. I'm going to write that in the chat. 8. And I'll put it in this chat too. I'm excited too. It's pretty. Awesome. So I gotta look to see if there's anyone we can actually raid.
Ooh.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm just gonna go book. Well, there's Scaretober with some haunting hype. I don't know what they're playing. They're playing something. Let's go say hi. Awesome. I think it's doing it. So everyone, you're welcome to say bye, but yeah.